Welcome to Pillow Talk.
Yes, welcome to Pillow Talk. I believe, let me guess, this is episode 30.
I think
No, this is a side table, not Pillow Talk.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to the side table. And you're right. This is episode 30. We got the episode right this time.
Yes, we got a nice round number for this episode.
You remember when you thought it was episode 30, like 3 episodes ago?
I don't remember, but I do believe that's something I would do. Oh, God, sorry. You scared the shit out of me. So welcome back to the side table.
This is episode 30.
This is episode 30. I was mentioning how I was just realizing how much restraint I have to apply when talking about these, so I don't make these just soapbox political rampages on my part. I just thought of that right now while I was setting up, and it's true. It makes me wonder, like, how other podcasters do it, you know, or if they are just like full on blah 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 blah, you know.
I think you get a range of people in there. People who are just like full on passionate and aren't gonna pull restraint. People who pull restraint, and then I think you get other people who just don't display their passion as openly.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're you know, I guess able to talk about it a little bit more without diving into that too much of a soapboxy thing, but they all have their place.
I know. So I'm not going to do that today. I just thought
we should just like limit ourselves to one hot topic a week, so you can
hot topic,
right? You can get it out, and then we can do some fun stuff.
I'll say then real quick that I support the protesting and that going on. But I can't believe everyone has forgotten that we're in a pandemic right now. And it just amazes me that when a racial issue like this happens, like protesting is like the first thing people, you know, think of. But they feel like they have to like physically like be there to show support, you know, like to justify their support, I guess.
I think that's what gets the most media attention, though. If you try to pull some movement online, you're not going to get the news and media outlet coverage that you do of having tens or hundreds of thousands of people physically protest something.
And that makes you think, like, I guess how much. Because what if you did like a whole like cyber protest, you know, and like bog down servers or something like that? I don't know how hard that would be. I guess it's like the more expensive route. I don't know. It just was kind of
more expensive and also illegal, but we can touch on that.
I just thought it was. And I feel like if you value human lives, you shouldn't be, you know, being in such close proximity to potentially spread this fatal, you know, virus. That's just what kind of blows my mind, how we just like forgot so easily, you know.
Well, and I think there's a fine line to skirt there where you have a horrific event that's kind of sparked everything, and if you don't protest in some manner immediately, then that just gets buried.
Yeah,
and it's difficult to protest in massive numbers without being closer. So I can see both sides of that, and I don't see like a good way of doing it.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just interesting that how society works. I'm just like, I just feel like I'm more aware of it now, and I think we touched on this last episode, maybe, or like the episode before. Just moving out has caused me to just be so aware of what's going on more.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it's just kind of nuts just thinking that you always want to think there's always just like good and evil, you know, black and white, and then there's just the world's actually just all gray.
Right.
It's just all muddy gray, and
there are definitely parts that are black and white, but very, very few.
Right. And I mean, I want us to protest, but I also want, you know, humanity to survive COVID, you know, and I don't know. It was just it's just interesting. And then I also made the mistake of going on Twitter this morning.
Ooh.
And because I wanted to know news about COVID because of my work meeting I had yesterday. So I wanted to learn information to, elaborate on the general gist that was mentioned at the meeting. And I was like going through Twitter, and all the Twitter updates on COVID-19 are always, not always, most of them are made up of the governor's Twitter accounts.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so I was like looking at all these other governors from other states, who've got, testing like statewide and stuff like that. And then I was looking for Governor Gretchen. It's Gretchen, right? Or Gretchen.
Gretchen Whitmer.
Whitmer, yeah. Our governor. I've seen if she had a Twitter account to see like her thoughts, and there was an article she she wrote for the New York Times, and then I was like, oh, I wonder, this was a decent article, it kind of, it was very vague, kind of like dancing around topics of race and pandemic, and how in Michigan mostly black citizens are the ones that are have been impacted by COVID and that.
Right.
And then it sparks, while you're reading that, it sparks like all the shit you've learned in school about race, like the whole, all that. And then I looked at the comments.
Oh, that's a mistake.
And the comments were it was just ridiculous. Like, it was all these older people who were just like, you took away our our rights, shit like that. And that just made me mad, because it's just like, she was doing this to protect you, but no one can see past that. No one can see the long term, because we're so like, that's the one thing I never liked about America, is we always seem to be in the short term mindset.
Yes. It's very much that selfish, what do I get out of it short term?
Yeah, or like, it's impacting me now, I wanted to,
Fix it
get
now.
rid of it. I know, that's why it's so infuriating with like the whole taxes thing. And I understand not wanting to pay, a lot on taxes, but like, the taxes are used to help make society better overall. Like, usually that's what it is. It's like to pay wages for people who work for the government, and then it's, paid to help like improve roads, to help with schools, things like that.
Exactly.
That's why and that's why it was always also infuriating when it was like a couple years ago when that grant in Big Rapids passed for the public schools.
Right, and people were up in arms because they were paying, a couple $100 extra a year in taxes.
And in Big
to
Rapids,
better the future of their kids.
Yeah, and Big Rapids, it's in Mecosta County, which I don't. A couple years ago when I checked, Mecosta County is one of the poorest counties in Michigan. And
yes, because we have like, well, I don't know if they're all in Mecosta, but like Broman, Bitely, and Baldwin are all in the area. And they're some of the poorest areas in the state.
Yeah, and that money is used to help education, further education. So individuals who are in, lower income families, which historically, going back to race, are Black Americans because of, civil rights and
slavery history that we have.
Yeah, and because of that, since, Blacks don't have as good of access. Wow, that was a sentence. They don't have the access, white people do to a higher education, which means they get lower paid jobs, which means their lower paid jobs aren't able to help support their families.
Yep, you stick them in a cycle of.
Yeah, it's a cruel cycle, and we've done that to them. And then the thing that really makes me mad is now white men specifically, are complaining about our rights being taken away, shit like that. And I'm like, yo, but have you looked at the history of what we've done? Like, this is our what's the word?
Penance.
This is our penance we have to pay. I mean, we deserve this. This shit's been going on, and it's still going on, and we're like getting so butthurt about it. And I'm just like, yo, like, how privileged do you have to be to not acknowledge that and be oblivious of it is very, I think it's very sad. And that was like my whole mindset within like the course of like 2 minutes while I was just sitting in bed.
So I have a couple things on that. One, I made the mistake of following Gretchen Whitmer's Twitter for a while just to get COVID updates,
Uh-huh.
and not a mistake in that like I don't like some of what she's saying. A mistake in that if I clicked any of her tweets, all of the comments that popped up below it were those comments you were talking about on that article of
And it's
people just shouting at her and you did this and that to me, and it's like it's a terrible situation and there's no perfect answer, but this
oh
is
my
the one we're
yeah.
going with.
Yeah, and it's just so there's no like I think yeah, people like you said are looking for a perfect answer, which is like yes or no,
Yep,
like this has clear repercussions, and life has never been like that. It never will be, well, it could be, but
it won't be.
the great scheme of life is just like it's all gray, and you have to make choices, and there's always a cause and effect,
Hmm.
and
There's never the perfect answer.
yeah, and it just oh, it makes me so mad.
And I don't know how much you've talked with anyone up here recently, but there was a peaceful protest that they were scheduling to do in the area.
In Big Rapids?
Yeah. Um,
Really?
And so, in preparation for this, another group of individuals decided to peacefully protest in another area, but with the encouragement of bringing their weapons.
Oh my
Now,
god.
I'm just repeating this secondhand because it apparently happened a lot on Facebook, and I'm generally not on there. But based on
Mm-hmm.
the trusted sources I've received it from, it sounded like there was another group of individuals who were like, oh, if it gets out of hand, we're going to peacefully protest with our weapons to keep it in line. I'm like, what?
Because it's because it's totally gonna get out of hand in Big Rapids, Michigan,
If it's going to get out of hand, it's going to be the people who showed up with assault rifles.
with fucking guns. Yeah. God, I don't get that mindset. Just that big dick mindset. I don't get it. I really don't.
No.
And it's just like um I don't know. I think my biggest I so if we want to delve into like things you stand for, like
Mhm.
the pillars that you stand for, is like decent respect for all human beings. That's like gay rights. That's racial equality. Like that's a must. Then there's the well, I guess then it goes with respect of women's bodies. So like abortion and that should be legal because women should have the choice to decide what they should do with their body, not white
Well,
men.
that should extend to a respect of everyone's bodies.
Yeah, and so yeah, it's like abortion, it's like race, it's equal rights for gay members of our society, and then it's fucking just I hate corporations, so anything against that. And then
The thing with corporations is I almost can't hate them because the laws that are in place allow them to do the things that they do,
oh, that's so true.
and they're just taking advantage of that, which is a morally gray area, but not really the cause of the problem, I don't think.
Right. I just really hate the image I always picture of corporations where it's these few individuals
Who own all the wealth of it.
just own all the wealth of it, yeah, and then just fucking abuse the shit out of it and make a ton of people miserable in the process.
Hmm.
I That drives me nuts. And then the other one was I don't know how to word this, but I'll say religious freedom, and I don't mean it in the sense of we should feel free to preach whatever we want, but we should feel free to be able to respect and withhold like judgment based on religion, or for someone to be snobby about religion,
Hmm.
equality on that standpoint. I don't know how you would correctly describe that,
I don't know. I think that just
but
comes down just to respecting people
yeah, and I don't
and
know, it's
every part of
just
them.
oh, and like good minimum wage.
I think that's going to be one of those big hot topics for the next decade is
Minimum
a
wage.
better minimum wage or some form of guaranteed basic income
Or in healthcare, like let's
and
come on,
healthcare.
free healthcare. I mean,
Well, not free, but
Sweden,
paid for by your taxes.
yeah, or something like that. Just to Yeah.
Not to sidetrack this, but are you familiar
No,
with Michigan's auto reform right now?
I am not.
So they have historically our auto insurance here includes what they call unlimited health insurance coverage. So if you or somebody you're in an accident with needs medical attention, your insurance covers their healthcare costs up to an unlimited amount of money.
Oh wow.
And we are one of the fewer states to do that, which also attributes to the higher cost of our car insurance. So what they have
Okay.
done starting next month is you can still opt for the unlimited coverage, but they also now have lower coverage amounts. I
Uh-huh.
believe the next one down is about 500,000 in medical coverage, and then they do one down to I think 300,000, and then they do some lower ones as well if your personal health insurance will cover that in an auto accident. So
Oh,
car insurance
so
should be a little bit cheaper here if you're taking a lower healthcare coverage cost.
I kind of I like I didn't realize it covered up to an unlimited. That's kind of, reassuring.
A little
A
bit, but
little bit.
that's I think the price of our car insurance is just reflective of the cost of our health insurance, which is why it's so expensive.
Yeah, no, for sure. I does that. What about no fault? Where does no fault fall under that?
As far as I know, all Michigan car insurance is no fault, right?
Is it all no fault, or because I know there? I didn't know if no fault was included into that because I've never paid for insurance outside of no fault.
My understanding is Michigan car insurance is all no fault, and then you can either pay for your
More.
your basic PLPD coverage, which covers the other person in a case of an accident, and then if you're at fault, they don't really cover too much. I don't think. I'm not super up on our car insurance because it's complicated.
Yeah, I am not either. It's ridiculous how nuts insurance is.
It is because then you can get like comprehensive or broadened insurance, which generally covers the full cost of the vehicle, but isn't the same as full coverage, which you would pull out on a financed vehicle.
Oh wow. And you're totally on top of this because you just got a new
I
car.
did. Well, new to me.
Yeah, new car.
It's a new car.
So tell me about it,
Okay. Well,
because I know you're very excited about
I am pretty excited about it. The excitement is tempered though, and I'll get to that.
it. That's upsetting.
It's not. It's not. It's just.
Okay.
It's just me
okay.
being cautious.
Oh, I got you. I got you. All right, hit me with it.
All right. So my car that I've been driving, I've had it for 7 years now. It was old when I bought it. It
Uh-huh.
had basically just rusted to nothing, and some things had started failing, and I didn't want to put any more money in it. So I parked that. It's still sitting in the driveway until I find or request a new title because I don't remember where I put it.
Got you. Really?
Yeah.
Side note, real quick on your car. When I was over last weekend, I didn't. I saw it like sitting there, and I'm like, oh, okay. He mentioned it was there, or whatever. But after when we were leaving, I saw that two of the tires on the right side are completely flat.
Oh yeah. 3 of the tires in total are completely
Oh.
flat.
Oh
Um,
my god, yeah.
The tires
I was like,
themselves are fine, but the aluminum rims are so corroded, they won't seal on there.
oh, I gotcha.
So between that, there's a battery alternator problem, and then just the rust. Done with it.
Okay, yeah.
So
I
yeah,
didn't
I've
mean to-
been driving Ashley's Jeep back and forth to work, which is atrocious for gas mileage. I've been averaging like 19 miles to the gallon on this thing.
Oh wow.
So last 4 months, I've just been browsing online, mostly because dealers are appointment only,
Uh-huh.
and so you can't really like go in and test drive and look around without setting up an appointment beforehand. And any place I go to is going to be a little bit of a drive from work even,
Yep.
and I got to either do that on a Saturday or right after work. So I hadn't gone into any other place until I found this one. I'd been looking at a lot of things from a sedan to a hatchback to even like small SUVs, and I wasn't finding anything that I really wanted. So I'm gonna spend some money on a car. I want to buy something that I enjoy too.
That you want. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know, especially if you spend an X amount.
exactly. And so I found a couple that maybe I wanted. I thought about a Ford Fusion like Sarah has, but they are a little bit bigger. And the only ones I could find had 100,000 miles on them already.
Yeah, they kind of drive like a boat too.
Right. And so I ended up finding this one. It's this little sedan. It's a Mazda 3. And I would have,
Mazda 3.
right? I would have loved to have had a hatchback, but I couldn't find any in this price range with this few miles, this new. So I was like, all right, I'll just stick with the sedan. So I was looking. I saw this car Friday while I'm sitting there at work on my phone, and
Uh-huh.
I've been like sending listings to Ashley for the last 2 weeks.
She's like, God damn it.
She's been pretty cool about it, but like she's not a car person, so she's just like,
Uh-huh.
okay, yeah, that's cool. That one's
That's
pretty,
sick. Yeah, that one's nice. I like the sheen.
right? And so I was like, well, I guess maybe I'll call him after work, and she's like, yeah, you should probably start somewhere. Like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, yeah. So I give him a call, and I'm like, hey, is there any chance I can come in, in like 20 minutes and take a look at this? And he's like, yeah, sure, sure. So I swing over there. They were super busy, and he had kind of fit me in at the last minute. So I ended up waiting for a little bit, but he
Uh-huh.
eventually got with me, brought the car out. I was able to test drive it and look it over. And the the price that they had for it was pretty good. They dropped it a couple thousand since they originally posted it.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and the amount that I did finance on there, they gave me a pretty good interest rate on too. Um, so I was like, all right, let's do it.
Uh-huh.
And so while he was filing up the paperwork and pulling up financing, I called the insurance, got them to add that and drop my other car. And then we just went there this morning to go pick it up and drive it back.
Where was it at? Where's the dealer?
They're right in crap, what's it? It's in Grand Rapids area, but not quite. It's off the Rockford exit, I believe.
Okay.
Wow, why can't I think of the address? The city address for it. Anyway, so it's like a 50-minute drive from here. Plainfield Avenue.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, this dealer had gotten it on a trade for one of their vehicles,
Oh.
and so I mean, it's pretty new. Uh, it's like a 2016,
Uh-huh.
and it only has
Oh, wow.
50,000 miles on it. And
Holy
right,
that's gonna last you like 7 years.
that's the plan. And it's a pretty basic car, like you had asked earlier. It doesn't have heated seats or anything, but it's got everything I need and Bluetooth, and
Heck yeah,
so
man.
yeah, like I'm excited about it. It's just the amount of like it's like spending money on a car and paying on it for 3 years. It's like, ugh, that's like an
Yeah.
adultish step.
Oh, I know. We were, so for people who don't know, Ashley and I were playing Tales from the Loop.
Oh, when I
Well,
called her.
when this was all going down, and so like I still had my headphones on, and I was unintentionally eavesdropping
Oh, that's
because she
fine.
was right by the microphone, and I thought like something was wrong. I'm like, oh my god, what's going on? And then I mentioned then Ashley mentioned something along the lines of like money or whatever, and I'm like, oh, they're probably just getting something or what have you. And then she told me after you texted me because I didn't want to pry.
Gotcha.
And yeah, and I was like, oh, are you getting a new car? She's like, yeah. And then we ended up talking about how being an adult sucks.
Sometimes, like, there's some really cool parts about it, but it's stressful to make several $1,000 financial decisions.
Yeah, yeah. No, I have a similar issue at the moment where due to so like I'm not gonna say too much about it,
Hmm.
but uh, we're scheduled teachers who get chosen from this callus, out of seniority and stuff and
Right.
necessity, are going to be, the called on the 15th. And if you're called on the 15th, you're supposed to go back on the 22nd for 2 weeks of cleaning and training, and then children come back on the 6th of July. And I had my only vacation I ever take in a year scheduled. That was one of my things before I got hired, and that was like 7 months ago. A little more than that. Scheduled. And the whole family is kind of scheduled their lives around
this vacation.
Around this week. Like they have access, to our cottage for like almost 3 months, but like this is the week that Grace is able to be up there. Sarah and I are able to be up there. My grandpa's going to be up there. My uncle is going to be up there. Katie's going to be up there for once, A lot of people have like sacrificed, moved their schedule for this week. And we had a meeting, discussing it. And if you don't, go back, then you're going to have to, to wait till more kids come and
basically be laid off until
and
more
then,
income.
and then do you want to file for unemployment or something like that. And it's just and I'm having a meeting with my boss on Tuesday to just work out like
see what can be done there.
Should I take a vacation? Should I see if I can move the week up? Do I not take the vacation? Just deciding, because I need, you need a job to
live.
To live, and I really want to go back to work, but I also really need a vacation, really bad. And so it's like, and then it's also like when you go into that meeting, you're just like, okay, now I don't want you to like come from the perspective of like, Patrick just wants a vacation just to have a vacation. It's just like mentally, like I'm acknowledging that I won't be coming back at 100%, if I don't. And it's like hard to convey to people who don't
coming
understand.
From the place of like, I want to be here and I want to work, but life's been stressful for everybody and I need a hot break.
Yeah. But then like you come back, like my bosses have been incredible during this time. Like
it sounds like
how they've made everyone like I've been able to be paid the whole time, and they've done an amazing job, and they're amazing people. They are so open-minded in that, and so they've done so much more. So much more. My words today are amazing.
The greatest.
The greatest. They've just done a lot more work. A lot of work. I can't talk today. A lot of work. They've done a lot of work, and I feel like it's like eclipsed mine. So it's like if anyone deserves a vacation, they do,
Mm-hmm.
But we need our leaders back. That's like, sorry, I interrupted.
No, that's right. Well, that's that's a good thought of, oh yeah, they need they've put in, all this work and they probably need a break, but so does everybody else.
Right.
And
it's just like, it's just like I don't know, maybe it's because I'm so like empathetic, is that the right word? And so I don't know, just I feel like I'm pretty aware of individuals and their feelings, so you're more open, I guess, to interpret feelings, I guess, more patient to do that. So I always think of it this way, and most people unfortunately don't, and
they're just thinking of their own situation and emotion.
So I don't know, it'll be an interesting, I hope, just like this whole, and again I was talking about this with Ashley yesterday too, is just she's having issues with work too, and everything's just a big I don't know right now,
Oh, yeah.
Like I don't know, you're just drifting, you're just floating, twirling around in space.
And she's been fortunate that she's been paid throughout this too, but yeah, she's just, one day it's like, maybe we're going out tomorrow, stay tuned, and then it's maybe we're going out tomorrow, and just kind of being in that constant limbo and wanting to get back out there is stressful.
Oh yeah, and then prepping yourself to go back out for the next day, and then not doing it, so all that heightened energy,
right, you get that adrenaline,
just immediately gets shut down, and that's just like a severe, like, huge slap in the face. Speaking of that though, because of that, I have finally found, I think a good outlet for me, and that is actually DMing. I think it's like pretty good. It's a very good distraction.
Really enjoying it.
Uh, oh, I'm so enjoying it. Um, you should see. Um, I might. Do you mind if I send you a picture of it
Yeah.
real quick?
Shoot it.
Let me go grab it. It's my journal real quick. I'll be right back, everyone.
Do 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 do.
Okay, so Joshua, I'm just so proud of this, so I want to show it off.
Do it.
Um, it's gonna be two pictures,
All right, I'm waiting for them.
but you cannot show them to Ashley.
Okay.
It's big
Big spoilers for. So yeah, you guys played for like a good 3 or more hours yesterday, didn't you?
Yeah, we did like 4 hours.
And then we've got another at least couple few hours scheduled today.
Yeah, today is hopefully going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, I spent so just for a little backup, I guess a little delve into my life real quick is I work at an early childhood center. I'm a teacher there, and I have taken classes about early childhood education, but I haven't been, educated via a college, or I don't have a degree in that. So I've done a lot of research over the past couple weeks because I'm finished with all my classes, and I only record and edit videos like on one day. I do them in like bulk, so I have more time to do stuff throughout the week. And I found this podcast, this early childhood podcast, that's been super informative. I've learned so much about it. But when I listen to a podcast, I like to do something. So I've been GMing this past week a lot, like doing GMing stuff. And I just because. So Ashley, in our friend group is 4 people strong. I just want everyone to know that.
It's a huge friend group. We've got so many friends.
So when one of us or like 2 of us are really into something, that's kind of what the whole friend group
is going to be up to.
Reluctantly or willingly does. And so Ashley and I are the ones that are like huge into tabletop role playing. And I have a campaign for the 4 of us, but then Ashley and I have been chatting, and I was like, if you don't mind, if you want to, we can do a solo adventure where I do all the stuff that's in the book for Tales from the Loop, like all the modules, because it's supposed to be a giant campaign. And I wanted to play as a character as well, so I'm doing. Don't tell Ashley this either. This is a huge spoiler.
Okay.
But I'm playing as a PC2, not yet because she hasn't
discovered
recruited him in the party. I'm surprised she didn't yesterday. She was trying to do the classic. I'm gonna touch on everything and then decide about it later. and so that's what she was doing, and so I didn't get to fully be the this player character, but it was I was getting really into it. I've just done a lot for it, and the pictures I sent to Joshua,
they look like the drawings of a Mad Men planner. You've got all the little boxes and the arrows. It's like the world's largest and most complicated flowchart.
Oh yeah, it is ridiculous, and it's how this whole town is connected. I've taken everything from the book, reskinned it in the sense of the content.
Right, but with the same events, basically.
Yeah, and I've made them how they're all connected in my world and stuff, and it was just, it was so fucking cool to do. I'm just oh yeah, and I'm just it's just awesome because and then you get to play it with someone. The thing you just made up on the fly is actually going to be.
It's going to come to life and.
Yeah, and like right in front of your eyes, and other people are going to, enjoy it, and so you get like that immediate, ego boost of like people are actually enjoying my stuff. You don't have to like make something and then wait and hope someone um acknowledges it.
Hmm.
It's more of like an immediate thing, and there's a lot. I don't know. It's just like a really good mix, and I'm super digging it.
A lot more rewarding than making videos and hoping somebody follows onto them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's been so fun. Outside of that, Josh, what have you been up to? Getting a new car.
You haven't been up to much else. That's taken up a chunk of, well, basically all of yesterday. I got home yesterday at like 8:30.
I was wondering. Going back to the car thing, I meant to elaborate a little bit on this but then I got distracted by
No,
RPGs.
that's fine.
Um, yeah, because when I was thinking when Ashley was telling me, about what was going on, I was like, so is he like at the? I'm like thinking, is he at a bank this late? Like, is that possible? Does bigger banks, do they have bigger hours? Because usually, when I worked at the credit union, you needed the information on the car and then go to the bank with the information and be like, how much would a loan be for this car, and the payments to cover that. And then usually if that happens, um, two people, or the people who are on the account, are required, to both be there.
Hmm.
And assuming that you guys are together on the same count, like Ashley would have to be there to sign, the loan or whatever you guys were doing. And I was like, so what is going on? I'm so confused. How does he already like have this car? And then I'm just like, I don't know what's going on. And so I
No,
was,
yeah. So that's one way you can do it. If you do it straight through your bank or credit union, um, I'm actually not sure if they would require both of us for that if I applied for the loan just in my name.
I know at the credit union, it was whoever was on the account. So if like you had a joint on the account, they had to.
Pull the loan under both your names.
Woo! Yeah, if you had. So if you went as like the joint, for example, and you wanted a car loan, you'd have to have the primary on there, or vice versa.
So I
Both
considered.
permissions.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
I considered doing it through our bank, but I was looking online at their rates for auto loans, and
Pretty atrocious.
they're not atrocious, but they ended up being the exact same as what they could give me at the dealership through
Oh.
some of their lenders.
Uh-huh.
So I was there. I said, yeah, I'd like to get this car if I can. He's like, all right, well, we have a credit app. We can do that. And so I figured, we'd do it. And if it came out with like a terrible interest rate, I'd, go back to the drawing board and go through my bank or something. But they gave me a pretty good rate on it. So the loan is only in my name through the creditor. And so then all I have to do then is I gave them my card. They ran the down payment on that, and I just signed some things. They made it super easy.
Oh wow, that's super nice.
Yeah, like the salesperson I was working with, Sam. He was super cool.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, I'm glad it was that easy, because I don't know, I was just so like how is he doing this?
I like that's kind of how I went into it too. Like I've never financed a car before. And so I've obviously done research on how to go about doing that, but it's a different thing to put it in practice, especially when you're trying to purchase a car after normal working hours, because that's when I'm not in work.
Right.
Oh, I ended up putting it on the down payment on my card though, so my cash back bonus on my card, it's gonna be so good.
It's gonna be insane. It's gonna be huge.
That's right.
The best.
The best.
The best. I what was I gonna say? Oh, so this just reminded me. I apologize for changing topics
You're good.
so quickly, but for those of you who don't know, last week I went and visited my family and Ashley and Joshua.
You can just say your family.
Um, and my mom gave me. She visited my grandpa, the prior day, and he gave her this red zip-up sweatshirt that uh, he's never worn. And I put it on, and I saw like these red flecks, on my hand after it went out through the sleeve, and I'm like, oh wow, this is strange, whatever. But I'll wash it. I go and wash it when I get back home, and it ruins a whole load
Oh no.
of of laundry.
Everything's
I
pink.
and it was like all of my like signature clothing pieces I'm talking about
Oh,
were in that load. I was so mad. I texted my mom. It was a very civil text message. I'm like, so that sweatshirt grandpa gave me just ruined a whole load of laundry.
that
And
sucks.
she's like, oh, I thought he washed it. I'm like, no, apparently not. And I thankfully I was able to save the more important pieces, the ones
Mhm.
I wear often. So like my yellow sweatshirt that I got at a Plato's Closet.
Yep.
Um, I was able to save that, and I was able to save like two of these V-necks that are like designed differently. Able to save those, but our towels
Are all pink
are
now.
are completely pink now. It's like so like I mentioned it to Sarah when she got back that day, and I was showing her the stuff. She's like, "Oh, it doesn't look that bad." And I like kept pulling articles out, and she's like, "Oh, oh, oh
Oh.
no!"
Oh no.
It was everything. I was that's never happened to me before because I've never had that issue with like throwing colors in,
Mhm.
and I usually don't wear a lot of red clothing, to be completely honest. More of a neutral kind of guy. But I was just so like, are you fucking kidding
Well,
me?
on the plus side, for the next 50 years of your life, you will never make that same mistake.
That is true.
I
That is true.
my my go-to for like a bright color like that is to wash it once, either on its own or with darks
Uh huh.
before kind of mixing it back in.
Before you do it, I should have. I don't know why I didn't think of doing it. Probably again because I haven't had an issue
Right.
prior.
If you haven't had an
But
issue before, it doesn't even cross your mind.
it was like all these like flecks of red were just inside this jacket, and like there it was all over the dryer too.
Ugh.
Yeah, so I had to clean. It was a hot mess, and not in a good way. Outside of that, did you end up listening to Beyonce's Lemonade?
I listened to it in passing once on the way home, but
Uh huh.
in the Jeep, the speakers are not great, and there's a lot of road noise. So
I gotcha. I was just curious because with all that was going on, I was wondering if you did because we can totally because we kind of had that space between. We can just wait to give our opinion on it, but
yeah.
it's very very relevant now. The album. But no, have you watched Joshua or
No.
what have you been playing, man? What have you been jamming on? Gaming. What have you been gaming?
Gaming. I've touched on a little bit of Elder Scrolls, mostly playing through a little bit of the Greymore chapter, um, and then playing a little bit with you here and there. But I haven't played too much else, or even really watched much of anything else. I did watch. Oh, this was several weeks ago, and I think I mentioned it to you. But I did end up watching the last couple seasons that are available right now, anyway. For what's it called?
Lee's Convenience Store.
No, no, that Dracula anime,
Oh, Castlevania.
Castlevania. Yeah,
Is the latest season pretty good?
I enjoyed it. I
Cool.
yeah, I definitely enjoyed it, and I'm excited for the next season.
I haven't watched the latest one. I have been wanting to watch, in anime for a while. I was watching a bit for a while of Dragon Ball Super,
Hmm.
and that was, oh my gosh, like nostalgia, just fucking in the face.
The thing I hate the most about those sorts of animes, though, is it's like I want the story to progress and I want to get there, but it's like filler episode after filler episode.
It's so true.
Looking at you,
And
Bleach.
yeah, I have thankfully have not seen Bleach, but I've always wanted to watch the Bleach live action
Hmm.
because the CGI in that just like always like enthralled me. I was
It's
so
cool. It's
interested.
a really different CGI.
Yeah, and it was really intriguing. I remember watching the trailer on, I think it's Netflix,
I think so too.
and I kind of forgot it was a thing until now. But the Dragon Ball Z Super um, is not a remake of the original Dragon Ball Z, which is what I thought it
Right,
was.
you had mentioned.
And it is a sequel to Dragon Ball Z, so after the Majin Buu storyline, which I don't think I ever finished. And it is the filler episodes. It's not as bad. It's the story has progressed
At a
fairly well.
decent pace.
Yeah, and I mean, there's still like the classic Dragon Ball Z moments of just talking in that, but it's all entertaining though. It's done with a big tongue in the cheek kind of thing,
Hmm.
and I haven't been bored with it yet. Um, though some of the there's just there's some stuff. It's just I don't know. It just makes me happy to watch it. It's like it's so good.
Just a nice feel good.
Yeah, it's definitely if you want to. I mean, you could definitely take away stuff from Dragon Ball Z. It's not like an anime like Death Note or something about morality and dissolve into evil. You know,
No, no.
it is it's a good one. But I did see that season 4 of Attack on Titan had a trailer, I believe,
Oh, I forgot Attack on Titan existed.
and I don't think I ever finished.
I don't
I
think
never
you.
finished season 3
Nope, I know you didn't.
because I wanted it to be dubbed because I watched the dubbed
For the first couple
movie.
seasons. Oh, for the movie.
Yeah, well, when I first watched Attack on Titan, I binged the shit out of it, and it was all subbed. So I watched it subbed, and then tried watching it when I got it on Blu-ray, the dubbed one,
Hmm.
and I wasn't like too impressed. But then it got really good, like the second part of season 1, and then season 2, I watched I think up to the midpoint of season 2. But this happened 2 years ago. Um, my sister and I went to the movie theater in Grand Rapids, and they were showing the movie version of season 2. So it's like all the good stuff of season 2 cut into a nice movie.
Right.
And it was perfect. It was phenomenal. And it was dubbed. And Captain Levi was talking, and I'm like, oh my God, I think that's Matt Mercer. And
And lo and behold.
it's Matt Mercer. He voices Levi. And then we got to see the first episode of season 3 dubbed. And I'm just like, I have to watch it now with dubbed. I have to, just because I love Matt Mercer that much. And I think that's why I didn't finish all of season 3.
Gotcha.
But I did catch up wherever we stopped in the manga.
Oh, okay. I have not caught up on the manga.
I'm not caught up at all, but that one time when we both were really reading it, we got pretty far. I think that goes to like season 4 or something.
I would imagine it does, yes.
But that was getting really good. But
Yeah, the
let's
story
end-
for that is it's such a cool concept.
the story is so good. It's really good. Like, it's so unexpected. And you're like, whoa, okay.
You're like, what?
Whoa. Yeah, it's so good. It's such a good story. because you think it's one thing completely,
Mm-hmm.
and then like this happens, and you're like, what? And then
What?
and then there's some other stuff, and then you're like, whoa, and then this other stuff happens, and you're like, all right, what? And then it goes, and you're like, what? And then it gets to the what the fuck? Like, oh man,
Yeah, if you want a good story that's dramatic and enthralling, read the Attack on
Attack on
Titan
Titan. It
manga.
is so good. The manga is just as good as the anime. Like both are equally amazing.
Yes.
Do not watch the live action movies. They are awful.
I still haven't
They
watched
are
them because you told me they were so bad.
they are so bad. And I think one of the things that was why they were so bad is because they made them to be like the definitive, movie. So all the story wasn't out yet. So they just kind of did whatever the fuck they wanted, and it
Game of
was so
Thrones.
bad. Game of Thrones. Yeah. That's a whole nother episode.
We could make
Anyway,
that an episode.
why Game of Thrones
The best.
is the best, the greatest, the hugest show ever.
Do you have anything else before we wrap up?
I was
Because
gonna
I have
say,
a suggestion.
oh, do you? Oh, bird update, real quick.
Hit us with that bird update.
Bird update. Two of the European starlings that were becoming the worst behind my bedroom window
Mm-hmm.
have now migrated up front. You already know this story, but I watched a bird fight that was a bird fight to the death for 5 minutes straight, and it was nature at its worst. It was awful to witness. So there's some shit going down in the bird community around here. I mean, there's something going on.
Dude, the
I think
animals, they're all up in arms.
there's an uprising.
They're,
You know.
my mom texted me last night. They had a black bear on their property.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
It's like Zoo.
it
The
is.
show Zoo.
Yep.
Oh my goodness, they're gonna murder us all. But what was your thing? Because I have one last thing, and it's for recommendation. But if you have a thing,
Yeah, I just had a closing recommendation. 'Cause we were talking about animes and dubs and Matt Mercer and voice actors. There is a cool YouTube video that Vanity Fair did, and it's like a 15-20 minute video, but they basically sit down with the voice actor of Ash Ketchum, and they go through her process of taking the dubbed, or taking the original anime, and their process of like script writing and dubbing over everything.
oh, that is fascinating.
It was a really cool watch. I was impressed by it.
Oh wow, I'm going to have to check that out. That sounds incredible.
It was.
Is she the original voice of
I think
of
it's
Ash?
been the same woman for this whole time.
Jeez, us. The role of a lifetime.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And she
Um,
ends up voice acting for a lot of other people in Pokemon, even in the series.
I believe that. I believe that wholeheartedly. Oh man, that's cool. I have to check that out.
I'll shoot you a link.
I know. I've seen a lot of her pop up recently.
Mhm.
Just like the voices of like the woman who voices Bart Simpson and her.
I saw that one pop up too.
Yeah, it keeps being recommended to me in YouTube. But my closing rec was going to be favorite anime, but I think yours might be. I think yours is good to end on because that's really interesting.
All right, we'll save the favorite anime for next time.
Because I don't remember the title off the top of my head because it's in Japanese.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, I don't even think it's been translated to be dubbed at all. But I'm curious now because that's a fantastic anime. Anyway, thank you for listening / watching to the Side Table. We are available on iTunes, Google Play, and Spotify.
And I know we took a week break in there, but we should be back next week.
Yeah, we should be all the weeks. All the weeks.
That was so much fun. Bye.